Red button means we're live, a casual take with your boy Steven Pepper, here to give a take off my chest. So the Bengals, surprisingly last night, according to Jordan Schultz, backed up the Brinks truck, paid some hefty long-term extensions to both of their wide receivers. The superstar Jamar Chase, 4 years, 161, highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the league. And his buddy T. Higgins, 4 for 115, highest paid wide receiver 2 in the league. That's a lot of money. So here's the thing about the poorly run franchises is that even their good moves can still highlight their inefficiencies. So as much as I want to congratulate the Bengals for doing something that they never do, which is pay top dollar to retain their playmakers, and boy, Chase and Higgins are some playmakers, I can't help but think they still botched this situation overall so badly that this team is still far away from contention. Listen, the Bengals could have saved, at the very least, 10, maybe $15 million if they just would have paid the wide receivers last year, but they didn't because they were cheap. And so the market has grown so much so that in order to retain them, they had to pay a difference where the Bengals could have had that money to use on maybe a high-level defensive player or two or an offensive lineman. And boy, could the Bengals use that right now, because when I look at their projected defense for next year, especially if Hendrickson gets traded, they're throwing you and me out there. It is not serious. This is a defense that was so bad last year that even when their big three, a now $125 million per year big three, couldn't save them despite putting up the best passing numbers in the league. So now the Bengals have to rely on the draft, not just one draft, multiple classes to build that competent defense. And I'm not going to sit up here and say it's impossible, because I would be wrong, because we literally just saw the Eagles do that and go to the Super Bowl. But I guess this is where my problem stems from, because I don't trust the Bengals. Because the whole reason why Cincinnati was even in this situation in the first place is because they whiffed on the majority of their draft picks in the Joe Burrow era. I mean, when you think about the Eagles, that defense, the best defense in the league, that defense that in the Super Bowl shut down, destroyed, played with Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, and that Chiefs dynasty. Not only did they had to hit the 21 draft class, they had to nail the 22, 23, and 24 NFL drafts, having guys like Jalen Carter fall to their lap, drafting high-level guys from good colleges like Nolan Smith, hitting on Quinion Mitchell, getting a snipe in the second round with Cooper DeJean, being savvy and going out and getting Zach Bond for a cheap deal when no one wanted him. That's how they built their defense. But do you trust Cincinnati? Because this is the smallest scouting staff in the entire league. They draft guys like Dax Hill and Miles Murphy. That is not a Jalen Carter. That is not a Pro Bowl by year 2. You can win a Super Bowl with that Chief defense. That's why you have to credit Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie for being savvy, because like Cincinnati, they're paying a quarterback $50 million, paying a wide receiver 1 $30 million, paying a wide receiver 2 $25 million. But they are so savvy in understanding the cap that they were able to pay these guys early. The Eagles' big three is $12 million cheaper than the Bengals' big three. That's how they're able to manipulate the cap. That's just the complete opposite, the complete savviness opposite of Duke Tobin and Mike Brown. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and disagree. I want to make it clear. I am not disagreeing with the fact that the Bengals wanted T. Higgins back on this team, because I did too. Because when you look at the construction of this team, given their poor run game, lack of an offensive line, terrible defense, they need T. Higgins on this team to have a high enough offensive floor to compete in this league. And competing, they did last year. This was a fantasy machine. 30 points per game, as easy as they can tie their shoes. It reminded me shades of my guys, Manning, Harrison, and Reggie Wayne. You couldn't stop them. But like I just said, the thing about the poor organizations in this league is that even their good moves can highlight their inefficiencies. And why the Colts were able to win a Super Bowl with that big three is that they were able to supply their team with the adequate pass rushers, the defensive player of the years, the safeties through the draft, smart free agency acquisitions. That's something that Cincinnati hasn't been able to do in the Joe Burrow era. So given that they're paying 45% of their cap space to just 3 players, all on offense, a quarterback and 2 wide receivers, they have no margin for error in the coming draft. No margin for error in the cheap veteran contracts. No margin. They cannot mess this up. Everything from the first, second, and third rounds for the next 1, 2, 3 years have to be a home run if they want to win a Super Bowl in the prime years of the Burrow, Chase, and now Higgins era in Cincinnati, get back to the Super Bowl in 21 or an AFC championship in 22. But my whole thing is, I don't think they can because they haven't proven that they can. But let me know what you guys think about these deals. I appreciate everyone for tuning into this episode of A Casual Take. Follow my social medias to stay updated on all things related to the show. Until next time, see ya.